Right.
Okay.
Okay. Hello.
Hello, I'm Esther.
Yes, okay. Nice to meet you too. I'm Kang. Okay.
Okay. So while we waiting for Zoe, or she's here already.
We're still
Maybe yeah. Who wants to introduce yourself first? Ajahn King and Esther.
Yeah, I can introduce myself first.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm artist from Taiwan, and I started my fine art master degree in London from 2006 to 2018. So the project I do in this project called EEP, which is also related to my previous art practice. Yeah. So yeah, later I will show you my artwork.
Okay. I'm Kisnaphol Wattanawanyoo, right? I'm an architect. Okay. I'm also an instructor at School of Architecture and Design at King Mongkut's University of Technology, Thonburi. Very long. I am also interested in the field of urban planning, urbanism. Okay, and recently, I've been always interested in like what we call these informal practices, right, or urban informality, especially these street vendors and other forms of these informal practices. So, yeah, it's an honor to join you and to share my comments as well. Okay.
Thank you. So you are now in Thailand, or?
Yes, I'm in Thailand. So how do we do?
I think before Esther started to introduce her project, and I want to give some framework about how this residency project works, because during this pandemic, we are actually not able to send artists to Thai, nor can artists from Thai travel to Taiwan. So we're thinking if it's possible to encourage exchange under this circumstance. And in the past, Hong Kong Museum don't really do residency program for artists. So this is also a new experiment for us. And we are aiming to have a real exhibition for artists from two ends at the end of next year, which means we have 1 year to develop the project that each artist proposed. And now it's more like at the stage when each artist started to propose their ideas, and we as museum try to coordinate or try to use our networking to introduce artists, the proper scholars, researchers, or someone who can give feedback or advice on their projects. That is why we invite, there are in total 8 artists, 4 from Taiwan and 4 from Thailand, chosen for this project. And we introduce to each artist 1 or 2 professions to assist their projects. So I have to say thank you, Ken, for joining us today, because I know, yeah, it's a busy Saturday for everyone. Usually in Taipei, Saturday is the time most of the exhibition opens.
Oh, okay.
So most of the opening and events will be scheduled on Saturday. So I'm very happy that we can have all of us here on this busy afternoon. And also, Now I will let Esther to introduce her project. And if you have any question or you want to raise any, or you want to clarify anything, you can interrupt anytime. And after the presentation, we would like to hear some feedback from you. Also, if Esther have some further questions, she can raise.
Okay.
Thank
Yes.
you. So Esther, please.
Okay. So let me share the. Okay. Hold on. Let me share the screen.
Yes, please.
How? Oh, here. Share this one. So I think I start from my previous work first. So this one called To a Resident. So I think I'm like a kind of my art focus on the daily life in city, but also more related to the psychology feeling, yeah, and memories. So this one, the our called to all residents, like because at that time I rent a house in London, so I found there's some things quite interested to me. In yeah, I feel like they are look very weird, like some, for example, some charger like a Mac charger and some fridge, like things are deconstructed, and I feel they are belong to somebody's. So this work is that I put them together and make it like a kind of like a style of home, and I do a projection to the corner of the wall, so it will look like a shape of a home. So when the audience go in and go out, their shadow will be projected on the wall. Yeah. So this is like kind of thinking who they are in the city. And the other one is like the project name called To the Family. So this is the start from a found object, which is received in a supermarket. So I kind of, um, I kind of, how to say, repeat the shopper's journey. So I go to the supermarket and kind of navigating in the market and found everything on the list and buy them again. Not buy them, but collect them again in a trolley, in a shopper cart. So and make a photo. So for me, this is like a portrait of this receipt belongers. So so in the exhibition room, I also like kind of using a tracing paper to copy the words, the vocabulary on the original shopping receipt. So yeah, this is also like thinking of who they are in a city. And the other one is the work from 2017. Its name is Resembling of Love. And this is like I'm making it like more like a installation view. And so this is one of my, okay, a journey to it's not a journey, but I visit to my friend's working space, and she works in the like a shelter house. So I feel like the feeling of time there is quite different from the place I live in the city. So I using like a broken glasses, and on the broken glasses I write some text and some numbers, which is also kind of an indication of like the dialogue between me and the people who live in the shelter's house. So I make this more like abstract and make it, yeah, for me, this is also like a painting, but in the three-dimensional space. Yeah. So these three words I kind of briefly introduced myself, and now I introduce the artwork, the work I make in this Thai project called EEP. So this project I started from thinking about three vocabulary, which is economical, effective, and portable. So I kind of list down like why I'm thinking these three words. Like I'm thinking about the kind of strategy of balance, like balance between the ideas and the economic issues, but also in the art practice, which means balance the idea of ideas and like a manufacture process, like of making our work. And also I'm thinking about what the material I really like to use, which is ready-made things, like more available materials, but more than like a natural materials. And like thinking about like the trace or the wisdom of making, like something like which the object itself, we can see the trace from the previous or from others, and so we're thinking about the how you deliver your message through artwork, like so it's also like an influence of like using social media. And so this one I think like how to deliver your message very effective in an effective way. And so also like a kind of making the reflection on the globalized capitalism and norms. So I kind of, so the title of this project sounds like a capitalism slogan, but which is not really, yeah. So also think about how to transfer materials to ink material and to the product and their relationship. Yeah, so I also kind of want to quote a sentence in the book, Mosquito Trails, Ecology, Health, and the Politics of Entanglement. So in this book, it mentions like, if you want to like keep a healthy life, it's not about maintaining like in a good order, but in the environment, but it's more about entangled well within it. So I think this sentence, the idea behind it, which is kind of very inspiring. Yeah. So kind of also think it might have some relation related to this project. So my practice now I split up to two routes. One is I'm thinking about this EEP could make like a platform, which is make a like a reception room or like office room, but I also invite other collaborations to participate in and to think about what do they think EEP is in their country or in their experiments. And the other one is like do a research. So in this Thailand part, so I'm doing the research about like Thai CIA like street food vendors. Yeah, so I'm now introduced about the EEPI, how I make a reception room, how I make a like a set of chairs. So like the first idea is like I want to make a reception rooms and like related to the idea of international bubble and now place, like a dream-like things. And so I'm taking the shape of a stack line chart, and I want to use like something strong colors, like more like in the dream inner situation feel. So I use 40mm wood board and laminate veneer and hinges and kind of attach And the manufacture part is quite tricky because I need to attach the wood board and the laminate veneer by myself first, and then there are no ready-made that wood board for me. Like it's quite interesting experiment. And then I use the CNC cutting to make a shape. And then I use the 6 to 8 hinges per chair to assemble the chair together and make like a structure. So now the EEP logo, I also made the logo looks like this. It's like for me, it's like a people floating, but a little bit look like an airplane. And this one is like a people like kind of fall on the floor, but also like a people lay down on the floor to read a book. Yeah. So this kind of not very balanced feeling, I get the logo based from this idea. And I also do some simulations. This is the first version of simulation, and the color I choose, like red, yellow, blue, kind of like a very old style and modern style. And yeah, so also another simulation. And also like the line chart of stock. So I collect different stock from like different countries and put them together. But they are the lowest day of different stock markets. But I'm thinking maybe I should collect the highest way, and it may make it more, have more contrast. When you move the chair, when you deconstruct the chair. Yeah. So also the simulation, and this is how how each chair like. So you can fold them up very easily, like a paper lie on floor, but you can also to construct them very quickly and make it like a structure, and you can sit on it. And this is the final, I think the first version of the EEP reception room, which looks like this, very strong colors and with logos, and like the chair. And you can use the chair while you like, and any way if you want. And you can also put them together as a puzzle, make it like look like a line chart, but you can also deconstruct them, making them like a living room or like a playground. Yeah, and also, so this platform part, I also kind of invite 3 artists together to thinking about what EDP means to them. And they are all from different countries and different backgrounds. And like I introduced them briefly. The first one is he's from Mumbai, but he's based in Indonesia, and he's thinking about his personal working space because he need to use the space with others and need to move his stuff each time. So, and the other one, he's from American, but his mother, his family is from I forgot, from the South American. So he always thinking about like the motherhood and the family food. The family, like this kind of immaterial, like memory things is more for him. This is like EEP. Yeah. And the other one, he's from a Japanese artist from American. So he is thinking about his hometown Hiroshima and thinking about how he, when he make this video shot, how people gathering together and make these things happen. So it's about negotiate with government and how to put people together to work. Yeah. And the second part, like making research about like Thai CIA like street food vendors. So I am kind of really briefly studied the Thai protest recently. So I'm thinking about how the street food vendors, how they could gather in so fast, how they could gather information. So I am checking out the Instagrams and checking out the YouTube videos, and to want to study like their structure, like how their structure, or like a DIY style of street vendors car, and also like want to maybe make a comparison between the protest route and the route or the speed of the street vendor cars. And also the third one is I'm thinking it's quite interesting because the COVID-19 and the protesting come together, and the economics not good, but the protests make people gathering together again. So it sometimes it kind of gives a like very different impression of people think the protest usually is. Like it gives people a good impression of like good economy. So the street vendors want to go there and to kind of to sell their food and to kind of to make more money, and it really works. So this is quite interesting for me, like how maybe a good economy like helps create like a positive impression, like for a protest version, and maybe could it be a tactic for for the protest. So kind of a screenshot from the vendor cards from the YouTube video, and yeah, thinking about their colors, card styles, and also about the gesture of making food. Yeah, and also like the structure of how the street vendors gathering and going away, and also think about maybe it links to the concept of entangling well. And but I cannot find more video through YouTube, so not really sure how they come together very fast and how they go away. Yeah. And yeah, and also thinking about how they can gather together very fast, because they through the Facebook or the other social media platforms, they can exchange their message, their information very fast. So also I'm thinking the structure of how people gathering together, the flowing, the movement of the vendors might be related to the Facebook algorithm systems. And this is also I'm making research, and I found like there's something very similar between Thai and Taiwan. Like Taiwan has something called hunting bees in the army drills in Taiwan, but it is made by light truck, and like it also like very they kind of like a spy or like an agent and know everything before the soldiers know. And this one, and compared to the Thai CIA, like people, the vendors sell food for the protesters, but now they can also show their kind of identity, show who they support. Like they say some like they say they don't think I have the same point of view. Like they won't sell the food to some people. Yeah. So I'm still want to know like how much does one card cost, and where do people can get it, and how do people like construct them, and how do people refit them. And also I want to know, is there any like a history of Thai vendor cards, like how how this how this how this cards be how these cards are invented in the history, and how it become now. And like about its functions. Like for example, like the motor can be detached easily, or like to have another functions, or if just only used for selling food. Yeah, and also it's like other pros and cons. Like this, a lot of vendor cards in your country. Is it like have any pros or any cons? And also, I want to know if there are any examples for architects to make a renovation versions of these cards. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah.
I think that's a lot of information for Ken for the first presentation, because you've mentioned, for example, at the first at the EEP, for the reception that you want to build, that is something more related to the space and to the form and to the style. And for the second part, it's certainly something related to what is happening right now, yeah, in Thailand, and you try to simulate it with the vendors in Taiwan. There's quite a lot of information, and I think, yeah, at this stage, maybe can have some question to first clarify your ideas.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Esther. Should I begin with question for you to clarify a bit?
Yeah.
No, it's up to you. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you put the three words together again? Just briefly, like economical, efficiency or efficient, and the portable. Why these three in particular? Just briefly.
For me, the economical means, because I'm thinking about the idea of balance. So I'm thinking like, I think maybe especially in our field, we think like economic things, or in capitalism things, which we always think it is like a bad things. We have like a not very good impression of these economic things. But actually, when I do my production, I feel like economical for me is kind of, yeah, have a certain feeling of like a very very wise way to making things better. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think I'm like I like it has a double meaning of this, like especially economical and effective, but actually in our field we only kind of know the like one side of these words. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what about okay, maybe just effective is more understandable. How about portable?
Portable, portable is a bit tricky, but I think it's my personal choice, and also
Okay.
kind of balance, like a portable kind of a balance of the two uh, the other two words. Portable feel, you have a feeling of light, and have a feeling of like very wide as well. And for me, I like to make things on the wheel, make it more like not very balanced visually, and but also like I like to create something very a little bit dangerous feeling, not very steady feeling. Yeah, and so this also kind of refer to the word I choose, why I choose portable.
Okay. Right. Right. And then in your first part, right, the reception of the platform, I can sense, I can see like how these three keywords are being realized or displayed or try to explore with those ideas. But then in particular, like for example, like the stock market, I'm not sure whether how would you is it a critique or is it a kind of symbolic of failure, like in 1990s, what is it, 99 in the East Asia, right? Like the Tom Yam Kung IMF thing, our economic we broke down, right? We somehow totally went bankrupt, and so that was one of the great economic depression, which also it has like the consequence, right? But then, okay, the stock market as a very symbolic of the capitalism, how would you imply such idea or any certain critiques? Because at the moment it's more like you're collecting all the world stock market, which is like up and down, green and red. It's how really if you could explore or push more symbolic meaning or other, I'm not sure, it could be more interesting, I would say, or if you pick like stock markets in or during some of those economic crisis, right? So that might, or if you even compare like one of the richest countries and one of the poorest or something, I'm not sure, but at the moment it seems to be quite neutral. And how would you critique or do something about it? That's my
so right now I collect different star market, as you can see on the globe, like, but it's in Chinese, in Mandarin, but also
okay, sorry, I can't read it. Okay, right.
And there has the date, so I kind of make research when is the lowest like star market index date in the history, and I put the date here. So for me, I really want to know what happened in this date. Maybe there have something news. I should check the news, but it's like, for example, in Thailand, the 2014 January 31st, like it's kind of really hard to search it online. Yeah, need to go to the library to check the news. 2014.
Right?
So
14. I think it's the coup. It's the coup d'etat. Yeah, it's the coup. It's this junta government. They took over the power. So that's why it sunk. Yeah, very low.
But I also think like if I can find the news on that day, but like the news is like very small and very personal news. Yeah,
I think that is
it will
many
be kind of very interesting comparison when you see the market things and like very small narrative things, put them together. And this is like one of my thinking. And the other thinking is like but there has some technical issues to put the all highest days stock market index together, but because like there are two different, the numbers are too different, but the highest day together, and they will like when you in the space, you will feel like when you like put the chair together or put the chair apart, you will feel like you have a kind of power to move the stock market index and to change something. Yeah. So this is my thinking how the furniture's design, furniture making, and how it related to the stock market index, its shape, and how it related to when the audience go into a space and to have some how the audience engage in this space, how they use it. It have some symbolic meanings when they use it. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, yeah, I think you can find more information about those incident, right? The crisis, and maybe you can further play out some more detail or other interesting. I don't know. Maybe you can find that more, but I'm not sure whether the word like portable for me it seems quite. It's like small, right? Portable, and you can take it away somewhere as well. So, and it has a, like more of the adjective of movable or mobile, the degree of mobility in space or flow of space here, which I think you can also maybe further explore with if you see like the paper box, right?
Oh yes.
Which you already have here, which is it's in that sense already. But those paper box, when especially the poorer people, it's like they're playing with the material, right? And it's thrown away. And when they remake it into a box or a kind of container, it became other like more of usable space or containing something, right? Objects or their belongings, or even they can even like use them as certain material. Like if it's hard enough, it could be a chair. And I think now a lot of designer play with the paper cardboard material. And the other architects, if you even have you heard of him, Shigeru Ban? No, yeah, you might have a look. He's a Japanese architect, Shigeru Ban.
Shigeru Ban.
Shigeru Ban, yeah.
Yeah, because he did
the paper
cardboard,
tube.
yeah, the cardboard church in Taiwan
and
as well.
As well, yeah. So like these ideas is so very fascinating for architects or designers or artists to play with found object or throw away discarded objects or recycle material. So that could also might add into your play of these movable or portable chairs or exhibitions or displays here, right? So that might be I'm not sure whether, but yeah, you can have a look. But that's more like architectural projects, right? This is more like artistic project. But I think there's something similar, or you can share the resource there, right? So I think that's the first half. The other collaboration of the three artists, I think that's interesting to find out in their final outcome as well, and how it would tie into your these three keywords. That could also be interesting, right? And then the second part, which I also have like some question, like how will your research end up in is it what kind of format, media, or output that you are like have in mind at the moment?
Yeah, it's a good questions. But I think for this project, I can do is like to I think right now I'm like I can do is like to know if there's a history of these three vendors, cards, like these things, and to make it like a video, and the things in the video might be more like kind of to get more informations about it, get more understanding about these three vendor cards. Yeah, I think this is the first steps to to have sufficient understanding.
Okay, so it could be more like media or video kind of thing, right? Okay, the other thing is I think that the idea of the entanglement or something. Yeah, it's quite interesting, right? And I think in other fields they also share this concept or this idea of, entangle. And I just, I think I just have like, here's the anthropology.
Yes, yes.
Is it the same guy?
Yeah, yeah. The book is the anthropologist.
I think I have it somewhere. Creative entanglement. Tim Ingold.
Oh, it's different guy.
Tim, yeah, his name is Tim Ingold. I might just write in emails again. Some of the, I think the article I have here is bringing things to life, right? Creative entanglement in the world of materials. So maybe that is another article that you might further. I mean, the other guy that you mentioned, they might think in similar way, but he's more like another. I think he's a Scottish or British. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, but anthropologist. And what I think at the moment, if you would like to pursue further, I think there's an interesting this kind of comparison between the Thai CIA and the bees in Taiwan. I think that is another opening which you could further explore, and can even relate it back to between Thailand and Taiwan, as well as if you mention the political dimension, we are the multi-islands, So I mean, there are other issues if you would like to relate in that political dimension. But if you go back to the root of CIA, right, I might not be able to answer everything that you post there in the questions, right? But if you go to the heart or to the key of CIA, it's been given or appointed like a nickname for these people, right, by the pro-democracy, the younger generation of the student and activists, right? They like to give nickname to all other things, but among them is the vendor, right? It's being given like CIA, Thai street food, because of their, the source of information. Where are they like protesting today? Where do they meet and all that? And they are like in advance, like before even the event start, right? Suppose you say, okay, we're gonna have like a protest at Victory Monument today at 5 o'clock in the evening, right? 5 p.m. And these guys, they will show up like three-ish, like 2 or 3 hours before, right? Okay, but at least like if you're there, you can see them already, right? I mean, and the reason is because, as you mentioned there, yeah, which is true, like because of this time, not just the virus, the coronavirus, but also the economic the slowdown of Thailand if compared to other ASEAN nation, right? We are among the lowest So we have a very hard time in the doing this economy thing. So people try to go to those places where they can sell their food or their, even not just food, but other products, you know, related to the this pro-democracy movement. So, but yeah, back to that is the how did they get the, or how do they know like where should they meet, where should, that is also through their social media, right? Facebook or messages, or what we have like the pro-democracy, the group movement they call the Yi-Chun Lin, right? Or like other group, they meet up in, they call this platform Telegram, which I think they adopted from Hong Kong as well, right? So from that, people try to send out messages. I'm not sure whether those vendors, they did have this platform or not, but they do have line, you know, line man, or not line man, line group, right? The line message, and what else? Facebook or other kind of thing. What I'm saying is they might have certain kind of network, right? And the source of information is being sent out, right? Or spread out. And then they, you know, they go to the places where people will be there. And that's it. And but also there were quite a few times it's called the fake news, right? Now it's like a gang, could be gang. Like this is like they put out the false news
Yeah, the false news to kind
you
of
know, to
redirect,
play
to play around with the government,
with the government, with the police, right? Let's say
leading
okay to
them to the other place. That you
Oh,
understand? Yeah,
yeah.
they put the fake news, so the government believes that the movement will go to that place, but at the nearly the time they change. So the government already put the, you know, the barrier or everything over there already. Yeah, something like that.
Like a trap.
Yeah.
got trapped, yeah. And then these people, especially the one with the motorized vendors, right? They can travel if it's not that far, right? It's, let's say, 3 to 5 kilometers, because they can travel. But the other types, well, like the push cart,
Mm.
right? In Thai we call rotken.
Yeah.
Those people, I think they might give up if it's too far. But for those like with on wheels, right, with water, they can travel and they can join up later. And yeah, I think that's the it's more like, yeah, because the name is CIA, is like, how did you know? And you know, being like kind of spy, which is like similar to your haunting bee, right? You know, like knowing where to go, or where's the shortest, or who to, even who to direct, or who to sell your food or your stuff to, and all that. So I think there are interesting kind of even though that not that similar, but there are certain things that you can make some comparison, and yeah, it might relate to one another, and we can also learn, right? That is, I think for me, that is the one of the most interesting thing, right? But other thing like the evolution, or how they came up, or even the structure, DIY, and another thing, I think it's more like organic, right? Or self-organized, right? Even this DIY modified structure basically is they have like a motorbike, and they put up these what compartment, the card, the side card together. Some may have like roof or the proper one, and I think this has been in Thailand as the kind of culture for many decades. So the industry or manufacturer, they pick up this and really make them into affordable kind of part of their becoming of their necessity, right? And later on they might modify it a bit, right? But we also have like latest version of more well designed or manufactured, or even like similar to the American food truck, these kind of pickup truck and all, they all have that. So in this line of production or manufacturing, I think we do have abundant or a lot of skill already provided, and it's becoming more convenient for them to start up. But also I think there's some kind of scoop or some kind of I think they did some questionnaire or ask. I'm not sure. I didn't remember the exact number. Maybe between 20,000 or 40,000 Thai baht to set up this. I think it's the food purchase, right? But I'm not sure whether that's include the modified kind of sidecar or not. Right. So, or maybe it's a non-motorized one, I'm not sure, but there are certain numbers, like let's say 20,000 to 40,000 Thai baht, which is in ถ้าเป็น US นี่มันกี่บาทนะครับ
Yeah, but it's okay. Thai baht is quite similar to Chinese dollar.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's say in that range, but I'm not sure. I have to find out kind of more exact information whether it's just the modified part and the food or the stuff, or it's the whole thing, right? Okay. Here.
For me, the questions listed by Esther now is very practical, because you ask a lot of questions like where to get it, how to get it, how much does it cost, and I think it, because even for the vendor cards, it varies. I believe that if you sell fruit and if you sell deep fried things, the cost should be very different.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, so I think at least there must be some like different types of cards, and it must relate it to. And so for your question, we can definitely go down into more details. But before that, way before that, because now you have the original idea of EEP, and you come up with a certain stage of presentation, and now you want to apply it to your research to Thai, and you come up with the idea with these CIA-like vendors. Now it's more like how you articulate all of them together. Yeah, there will be, I think, at this stage, our main concern. Yeah, because I see a lot of ideas. And actually, here is the part that I would like to ask the advisor on Kang, because from the point of view, among all these different factors, what would cause more interest to you? What do you find more interesting when you overview the whole project?
You mean both the platform and the research?
Both.
If you ask me, I would, because I'm interested in the CIA street vendors, and I hear like other countries, like they have similar kind of street vending practices, like the hunting guy, that I would like to know more, like for my personal interest, right? But I think it depends on the artist also, like what would Esther would like to express more, right? And one of the keywords that you mentioned, I think, that Esther said early, is the everyday life or the urban life, right? And how can one make them aware or know who they are? And I would like, that's an important kind of statement to begin with already. And I might like to add, like, each and everyone in the urban society or urban condition now, we are also, in a way, somehow contribute to such society, or even though it's capitalist, non-capitalist, we don't like it or we can live with it. Somehow we, in a way, contribute that, right, in this kind of entangled or interwoven, right, or in this kind of enmesh, and one might come across one another, right? And if you take like the Thai protest as an incident, people at the university, they go to these street vendor anytime, I mean, but when they meet up in the street protests, it also gives them another dimension, right? Another, like, this another urban fight together, and they are doing something also maybe not for their not for the sake of their own self, right, but for the collective way of being together. It's like also depending on one another, because if the students or the younger generation, they go protest, they have a lot of things to do besides their homework and everything already, or even those who just get their new work. And these people, right, the CIA or the street vendor, they go and try to provide the food for the protester, right? So this kind of maybe relationship is also interesting. I mean, there are, in the real world, it's like there's this kind of entanglement, but how would you unfold and then tell that story, and with certain focus that you really would like to express? That would be my kind of overall suggestion, or my interest. Yeah.
I want to ask, is there any example of collaboration between the young protesters, or between the protester and the vendors?
Collaboration.
Yeah, I mean or like
I think I saw the sticker, like you mentioned earlier, that the hunting bee can choose like who they want to sell, right? So I think I saw the free youth movement, they're making like a sticker to put in front of the any card to show like they don't want to sell to police, or they don't want to sell to the army. Have you seen that, Ajahn King? It's recently, yeah.
Not sure yet.
And they give to anyone who would like to put this sticker on their card.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's one of the latest. Maybe, but one of the most evident incident is maybe they have like the coupon. It's like the bank that you can. It's like you go and trade off. Like you can, but you have to buy. You have to buy this coupon from the free youth, right, for the protester, and then you can use this coupon and go and get the food from the vendors, and then you can even, and the vendors can return the coupon to the protester and trade back for the money. So I'm not sure whether this is a kind of collaboration, but I'm not sure in terms of like that very collaborative, organized as a protest. I'm not sure, but they might know one another, right? I mean, they might have some kind of leader, or the one who can have like this kind of central information, and they spread it out somehow. They might have those kind of coordinator from the two sides, and they might talk to one another or coordinate for certain correct information also. But otherwise, collaboration in terms of that kind of protest sake, I cannot say that yet. Yeah, right. But also, there are also like people in the protests, right? If they suppose I see this kind of fishball vendor, or any like pork barbecue vendor, whatever, or the fried chicken, right? And I say, okay, I would like to take all this food from you today and then give it out to these young people here free, you know. You get my point? Like, it's like they get the whole, it's done, it's sale for today, but then you just sell it you just give it to the people, and you don't sell it. That is also another kind of helping one another, right? Suppose I'm like the mid 40 guys, I have money. I cannot really go to the protests every time. But when I go, I bought this, right? Okay, 30,000 baht, right? Or 3,000 baht, 4,000 baht, whatever. Give it to you, to the vendors, and then and then that's done. That secure your income for the day, right? But then you just give it for free to the protester.
Yes, that's the same. That happens in Taiwan as well. When we have protest, sometimes we got free food from vendors because someone paid for us already.
Someone paid, right?
Yeah. And I think it's the same in Hong Kong situation too.
Yeah.
And I found one news which might not be a typical collaboration, but it's about some pub fans. They buy the advertisement from Tuk Tuk.
Tuk. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like before they maybe buy the advertisement from the subway or from bus, but bus and subway are run by government, and because they are very unhappy about the government, and so they decided not to buy the advertisement from public transportation anymore. So they spend their money on a tuk tuk as kind of support of the protest.
Yeah. Yes. That's true.
Yeah. So maybe there's we're not sure if there's direct collaboration between vendors and the protesters, but I think there are a lot of this kind of cases in this.
I think it's in the gray zone, right? I mean, you cannot that clear like, okay, this is our collaboration, but there might be some coordination, I would say, and it depends on the degree or level how you collaborate, because these vendors, in a way, there might be network, but very loosely, or they connected through the social media, but one cannot like order, okay, we should go here, we should go there. It also depends on their, like you might already know, like these people, some of them are also pro-democracy vendors themselves. So in order to join the protest, they also like their political view is also being displayed, and being also they support these younger generation, right? And also obviously many of them like becoming more like they can get a lot of income during this period, because numbers like from 100,000 sometime, the one of the peak, 2-3 of them like very big ones, Sanam Luang, Radamner, and 1 or 2 like it's like 100,000. So the number or the amount of people could even attract all of these mobile vendors. So And yes, as you say, like these protests have elevated some of the vendors' economy during this time. Yeah. Yes, I would be.
I'm thinking, is there any like how to say, any rule, any laws to kind of yeah, is it legal to have a like a street vendor cars or?
They also go in the gray area, you know. We don't have like that particular law, but for the law enforcement or very strict regulation being applied are the hawkers, you know, or the street vendors like on the sidewalk, where in all over Bangkok or Thailand, the local government or the local district officer, they designated, they allocated particular area where it's a zone of exception where people could come and do their trading, selling food and other stuff. But also other vendors, you know, they sell or operate outside that zone of exception, and it's being like on and off. But recent in 2000, I think 16 or 15 or 16, it's been this kind of reclaiming the sidewalk back, right? So they remove all these street vendors on the sidewalk. In most of the street, I think only very few areas are left. So that's another direct cases regarding the laws. But for the mobile one, because of their mobility in nature, you just go around, right? And you can just go escaping from both the police and we have like district officer, we call it tesakit and all that kind of thing. So if to answer that, we don't have like such law or regulation to regulate these mobile vendors, and because that they are in a way informal, kind of in the informal economy, if you would say. So maybe in the first part of your, it will be like this kind of relationship between the formal and informal economy, right? Or can also be touch if it's, but I'm not sure in Taiwan, like the hunting bee, is it the formal one, like being registered or
No.
any? No? Okay. So I think most of the informal practices in the world are unregistered and maybe illegal. But I would say they are unregistered, right? And we don't have any legal accommodate them properly, right? It's either black and white. That's what I'm saying. And when we try to apply the laws or regulation, and when we want to make them white, we have to remove them away, and which they prove their necessity or their contribution here, right? In many cases already, yeah.
So yeah, because I asked a lot about like her practical questions about the vendor cards, because I'm thinking like maybe different vendors have their own choice or their own stories. So I want to like know more about the details, like very personal details. Online, yeah. And
Yeah. If you can, I'm not sure whether how could you talk to one of them. It will be very helpful to find out more about how their practices, right? How do they enter this business, okay, and how do they find their route? Because besides their protesting events going on now, I think they they have their own like particular routes, right? They fix spots of where to stop at what time and all that, and that's their way of living, right? They're making money, so they have this kind of survival tactics, and go by the law, or to step outside the law a bit and sneak around and all that. So if you really can interview or talk to some of them, that will be more interesting. I haven't really been talking to these vendors. I did quite a few times, but it's more like informal conversation, right? But not really as a structured research kind of thing. But what I did as my research it's called like these pickup trucks, right? รถกับข้าวรถพุ่มพวง right? In Thai, these trucks, they have their own kind of customer where they try to work out this kind of try and error, right? To test out their routes. What time should they be, right? And why should they be here and all that, right? And there are lots of things too. I mean, like there are franchise, like even the ไก่ทอด ข้าวเหนียวไก่ทอด here, the picture you show here. I think this is a small local franchise, and
really?
Yeah, they have like I think so, right? Even a few of them, they might have this franchise, right? The thing is, they just go and get their ingredients or stuff and go to the place and fry them or cook them. I think that. Okay.
Brief introduction of the vendors, street vendors cultures, like something. I mean, like a book of.
Introduction.
Yeah, is there any book like a kind of brief introduction of?
Brief introduction. Okay, I did some short article. I can send you the link later on, right? It's about, but it's a more like a general overview of street vending in Bangkok.
I see.
Yeah, but yeah.
อาจารย์เก่งคะใช่ที่อาจารย์เขียนเกี่ยวกับรถพุ่มพวงหรือเปล่า
เขียนแต่ว่าอันนั้นจะเป็นในเล่มภาษาอังกฤษนะน่าจะอีกอันหนึ่งเดี๋ยวผมส่งลิงก์ให้
So he writes about the other kind of can be street. It's not a street food, but it's like a moving grocery. It's just right, yeah, moving grocery, because before in the COVID-19 people afraid to go out, so we have I send you the photo. I will send you a photo so like the car is full of vegetable and maybe some product. You can see from the picture. He write about that car as well. Yeah, just for your information.
I think I can send you the link here, right?
Yeah ใช่ค่ะ yeah.
And I have to copy ไหม ถ้ามันต้องไปที่ไหนต่อ Zoom and then send message หรือเปล่า
มันเลือกไฟล์ในรูมค่ะอาจารย์เป็นไฟล์แล้วอาจารย์ก็เลือก your computer
chat
ใน chat
Can I put in the chat Okay.
ใช่ไฟล์แล้วไปที่ your computer ค่ะอาจารย์ค่ะมาแล้วค่ะ
This in this book, wait, which page? I think if you go to page, yeah, 30, sorry, 55, 54, 55, yeah. That's my small piece. I try to categorize in, but still very general, right? And in this case, if you really go to the CAA kind of thing, you can even break down into further variation, right? So I think I put them in page 62, 63. That's the kind of overview of this mobile street vending, and it has kind of cultural evolution a bit already, so you can, that would be one of the starting point, I think.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think that's very helpful.
But also in your final piece, this, I'm not sure whether, because also when I'm working or when I'm researching, because we are talking about this kind of speed and movement and mobility, or how they have, like, travel from places to places. If that could be display, I'm not sure whether could that be possible. It's like flow or the speed or the mobility in in the research. How could that be displayed? That's my kind of very challenging for me as well. I don't know how to, because when we, especially architectural design, is immobile. It's very static. But our subject here is very mobile, right? And
you could just use the vendor card to display something. Probably, maybe, I don't know. Just an idea.
Okay, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but
You
it's
can
okay.
work out. Yeah.
We are hoping that next year, if the situation gets better, maybe we can send Esther to Bangkok, and he can really get to see a lot of kind of different vendors.
Okay,
then that
cool.
will be very helpful, I guess. Yeah, and I also think it might be interesting to put as a comparison of the vendors we have here in Taiwan. Yeah, that might be interesting too. Yeah. But I think it's very nice that today we, in the whole conversation, that Esther get to receive some further informations. And also it's nice by going through the whole presentation, we found some details or found some points that need to be further deliberate or to be further described. I think that is quite helpful for your final presentation next week, Esther. Yeah. Do you have any further question or any thing you would like to ask Ken?
I have one kind of, I'm not sure if it's like very small questions. Yeah, I want to know, like, is there any particular maybe colors or the materials, architectural materials you prefer?
Hello. Sorry, can you repeat again? Sorry.
I say if there are any particular materials or colors like people prefer to use, maybe like for the the public, the common people to use.
You mean for vendors or
maybe for vendors?
Well, maybe what I see more is like these this board, right? Like display their name or their products. And the other thing is like the fabric material, right? Those like tent-like of fabric to add on. So otherwise, it really depends on their. This is also back to your question or to your original starting point, is the idea of economical, right? What is the optimum investment or how much money you have for a vendor to start up? And if you have quite a lot or a certain amount, you can do certain things. So this is like for the one here with the chicken thing here, I think it's kind of in the middle range. But if you see other where they cannot afford the roof, you know, because in rainy season, they might use like the basic umbrella and you open up, right? So that is more, it's more like, it costs less in terms of like, you know, this modification or DIY. But for this one that you have here, it's more like fixed or modified one, which might cost a bit higher. So I think the degrees of money, economy, investment, and or even like the one with the push cart and the one with the motorbike here, their proximity or their area of covering or coverage area is also different, right? Because if you can take your shop elsewhere further, it gives you also a kind of opportunity to might gain more income from the customers, right? But whereas for those who just have to push on, you know, walking and push around, it could only cover certain areas of proximity. So, but that's also go back to the like original, how much money you have for the startup, right? This business. Okay. Did I answer the material? I think it's more ready-made, but then I think they might just add on certain very few one. Okay, but very, very maybe very cheaper one or economical one or easy to change or something like that. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think maybe we can also try to find from some photo albums to see if you can collect more images of these vendors. Because I think from some tourist books there might be a lot of photos of the street view, and then we can use that as reference as well. Yeah, but for today's sharing, I think we collect quite a lot of information for you to go further for the research already. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add on, both Kent and Esther? Yeah, or we can continue the discussion later through email if Esther, you have any questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, you're welcome. No worry. It's quite interesting for me too.
Yeah, I find the book you share very interesting, and there are also different chapters I would like to read later.
Okay, sure, yeah. It's really based on Bangkok. Yeah. Okay, then.
Thank you.
Thank you. Looking forward to see you your work first.
Yeah, and hopefully we can start to travel sometime next year. Yeah.
Yeah.